It's now past midday. I'm Liz Green. Hope you're well then on this Tuesday lunchtime. Now, that controversy over building a mosque 2 blocks from ground zero is not going away. Today, the imam behind it says that the Muslim Community Centre, if it's built there, will bring honour to New York and to Muslims around the world. And throw into this mix the author Salman Rushdie. Do you remember his book, Satanic Verses, was burnt on the streets of Bradford back in 1982. He says he believes the mosque should be built there in honour of the American right of freedom of worship. Well, the objections to this mosque are fierce. So look, the big question on Liz Green Live, do you believe that the mosque should be built 2 blocks from ground zero?
No. Well, all those people that have died and that, it should be just remembrance for them.
From what I read, it isn't that close, is it, to ground zero? I thought it wasn't the way it's been portrayed in the media. I thought that it was right on ground zero, but I'm not sure whether I'm right. I can see both sides.
Well, I think that all religions died in 9/11, so why should it be a mosque that's going there? You know, it should be something that celebrates all religions, not just a mosque. I think that's hypocrisy, really.
Just some thoughts here in West Yorkshire this lunchtime. I think the argument's pretty clear-cut here. Many seem to be offended at the idea of an Islamic mosque near to what's been seen as hallowed ground, where almost 3,000 people lost their lives on September the 11th, killed by extremist Muslims who flew those planes into the Twin Towers. The anniversary was on Saturday, the 9th anniversary. But supporters of this mosque say that their religion and their community centre is about peace, not about terror, not about extremists. And this is a practical solution because there are a lack of places for Muslims to worship in Lower Manhattan, and the act of it being there will heal. Well, the imam who is behind the creation of this community centre is Faisal Abdul Rauf. He has been speaking today, and he says that this plan will bring honour to the city of New York and to Muslims all around the world.
Let there be no mistake, ladies and gentlemen. Islam categorically rejects the killing of innocent people. Terrorists violate the sanctity of human life and corrupt the meaning of our faith. In no way do they represent our religion, and we must not let them define us.
That's the Imam Faisal Abdul Rauf, who is behind the building of this community centre. This is an enormous political issue in America. They've got their midterm elections coming up shortly. I want to know, do you believe that this mosque should be built 2 blocks from ground zero? It's our big question. You can email me, text me or call. Love to talk to you. For your email, radioleeds@bbc.co.uk. When you text, it's 81333. Start your text with the word Leeds. And when you call 0845 303 3333. Here in West Yorkshire, we are a vast multicultural community. And this message from this imam is that if this mosque is created, it will bring honour to Muslims around the world. Will it? Let's speak to, first on Liz Green Live, Dr. Mohammed Iqbal. He's president of Bradford's Ahmadiyya Muslim Association. Back with us on Liz Green Live. How are you?
I'm fine, Liz.
Good. Do you believe this mosque should be built?
Well, I think it should, because as the Imam in the US has stated, I think it'll build bridges and heal some wounds. And I think many of us have heard him speak on the different channels, and is very clear, very articulate, and thoughtful really about the whole process, and all this hullabaloo that's built up. It really has surprised many people.
Thousands of people apparently marched through New York on Saturday, demonstrating both for and against this project. And those who are against it is becoming a major political issue in the United States of America. And it is, I've heard victims speak in the last 3 or 4 days, relatives of the victims who lost their lives, of all faiths, at 9/11, saying that it's just insensitive, that for them it's a step too far. Do you get that?
I don't, Liz, to be honest with you. You get, I mean, whoever flew those planes, whatever number it was, I don't know, 11, 15, whatever number of people it was. Can you take 1.3 billion Muslims throughout the world in the religion of Islam and blame it for everything stupid like that? You can't. You can't blame Christianity for every ill of the world, can you, or Judaism or any other faith? And why should that be the case for Islam? Islam is so diverse in lots of different ways, and there are very many peaceful people. And, you know, in many places, mosques... I mean, this place is not even a mosque, to be honest. It's meant to be an Islamic centre with a swimming pool, a library, a communal centre, and all those things. So, you know, this has been whipped up by the right wing in America for political purposes, and I think it's quite disgraceful.
Sabia Iqbal also joins us. She's a community worker based in Bradford. Sabia, thanks for being here. We've got Dr. Mohammed Iqbal with us as well. Can I ask you, do you believe this mosque should be built 2 blocks from Ground Zero?
First of all, just highlight that, as he just said, it's actually a mosque. It is a centre. It's not...
I tell you what, our line to you is not good. And I want to hear what you've got to say, Sabia, so I'm going to call you back and see if we can get that line a little clearer. You're with Liz Green Live. That's what we're talking about. The suggestion that this mosque should be built, I think it's about a block and a half, 2 blocks away from the site of Ground Zero, and the opposition to it is fierce. The man who wants to build it is saying this is about honour and this is about reconciliation. And Dr. Iqbal, he's also saying that there should be some multi-faith inclusion here as well. He hasn't been saying that up till now, but maybe this is his way of trying to persuade the greater community that this would be a good thing to do. Mohammed.
Well, I think so. I mean, interestingly, as you said, there's a whole debate going in the United States, and many thoughtful voices have come up and said, why are we suddenly seeing this degree of intolerance? And I don't think it's anything to do with religion. It is all to do with politics because of midterm elections. And this particular imam is his form of Islam is Sufistic. He's been liked by all the hierarchy from the Bush administration, Clinton to Obama. He's been used as an ambassador. He's been trying to sort of have tolerance between different faiths, understanding between different faiths. And suddenly, I read a very thoughtful article by a Jewish rabbi who sort of gave the background to how this all started. And he said, even the name, people have whipped up hysteria. Why is it being called Cordoba? Well, Cordoba was a center of Muslim civilization that was the most tolerant in the world, that, really featured highly about education involving different faiths, whether they were Christians, Jews, etc. And then for the Americans to whip it up that, this is about Islam, trying to reassert itself and trying to take over the West, how nonsense.
Sabia Iqbal, we've got you back, hopefully with a clearer line. So I asked you the question whether or not you believe that this community centre should be built 2 blocks from Ground Zero, and I didn't get your answer, so if you'd like to answer me now.
I think we have to look at, the positive side and the majority side of this argument, which is, here's a community centre that's being built to serve the community, and they're opening their doors to anybody and everybody, and they're saying, look, if you want to talk about Islam, let's talk about Islam, and let's do it on an interfaith level. Let's be open. Anybody's welcome. And we're doing it in the heart of the city. It's not actually in Ground Zero.
2 blocks.
It's in the heart of the city where people can come.
2 blocks from Ground Zero.
Yeah, 2 blocks. So it's in the heart of the city, and people can come and have those discussions, and it's an open place where people can integrate. And having been to the US myself last year, I was in Chicago, and I was involved in interfaith work there with the Interfaith Youth Corps, and I met people, over 2,000 people from all over the world, and especially America, that were championing interfaith, and it was the core of moving forward and the core of tolerance, and I think we really have to push that.
Yeah, those who object say this isn't about interfaith. This is an insult to the memory of those who were killed by extreme terrorists on 9/11, even though people of all faiths died, sadly, nearly 3,000 of them on that day. So maybe this is an issue not about practicalities. Maybe it's a chance to reinforce the peaceful message of Islam, sure, but maybe it's just a step too far for those whose loved ones were killed on that day. Would you accept that?
I think if you say that, then you're automatically saying that Islam was responsible and that all Muslims were responsible. And just because a few people took certain elements of Islam, claimed it was all of Islam, which most of us would reject what they did, then you're attributing it to Islam and you're making us feel responsible, and we're both the problem and the solution. We don't have the rights and the responsibilities that everyone else has. And I think the Muslim community, not only do we have the right to have places where we can, worship and we can be together, but I think we also have the responsibility to have places where other people can come in and these discussions can take place.
Dr. Iqbal, you'd agree?
I agree very much so. You cannot hold the Muslim world in Islam hostage to what a few people did, extremist people did. And look at it this way. How many people are they killing in the Muslim world? Just add the numbers up, how many they've blown up. And that puts it in perspective that it's not just New York where these extremists are doing nasty things. It's other Muslim places as well, and most Muslims reject that.
And I think if you want to take an example, even if it is going to be used as an argument, if you look at the 2006 massacres in Lebanon, over 1,200 people were killed by the Israelis. And in a country that has a population of around 500 Jews compared to the millions of Muslims in America, one of the biggest and most beautiful synagogues was built in the heart of where these massacres took place. Now, I believe every other Muslim should defend the right of, for a synagogue to be built there. But if the principle of you not being allowed to build something that has a no matter how weak link with a faith with a so-called terrorist attack, the argument doesn't really stand when the Israeli government, which is in partnership with the American government, was able to do that.
OK, let me just put this email to you. It's really good to hear from you both. Thank you. This is from Adrian, who's listening. He's emailed through radioleeds@bbc.co.uk. The big question, by the way, should a mosque community centre be built 2 blocks from ground zero? That's what we're talking about. Adrian says this should not be built at ground zero because in years to come it will, in my mind, become a shrine. They can say what they want, but it's ridiculous and it's insulting, says Adrian. Do you understand that at all, either of you?
I'm a little bit confused about the argument of it being a shrine.
A shrine to the terrorists who flew those planes into the Twin Towers.
Well, again, I think he's attributing the Twin Tower attacks to Islam and to all Muslims when most of us would reject it. And I think, if people actually look into Islam, and this is when the rationale and the actual education comes in useful. And if you look at the majority of the media rhetoric, that's completely missing. If you want to talk about what people do, forget a community centre inside a mosque, what is said in the prayers completely refutes these kind of ridiculous terrorist ideologies. And people should be happy that there's more places like this being built where people are trying to encourage tolerance and trying to encourage the peaceful, true Islam, which would go against the terrorist ideology and combat anybody like that trying to come into the Muslim community in New York and anywhere else.
Thank you. Yes.
I find it difficult to understand hysteria like this, to be honest. It was on the back of hysteria like this that this Terry Jones fellow decided he wanted to burn the Qurans. How far do we go with all this nonsense?
Very good to hear from you as well, Dr. Mohammed Iqbal, who's president of Bradford's Ahmadiyya Muslim Association, Sabir Iqbal. Thank you. Community worker based in Bradford. So I want to know from you, this is our big question this lunchtime, should a mosque be built 2 blocks from ground zero? This is back in the news. It's not going away in the United States of America, but the imam behind it says that it would honour the city of New York and honour Muslims worldwide. Would it? 0845 303 3333.